everyone. Dr. Siham, thank you so much again for waking or continue to wake up. You have already, I don't think you have slept from yesterday, but I will give you the floor. I think this is a co-author paper. If you could kindly also introduce all your co-authors, because it's very important we also acknowledge them. I know that video will be there available. And you have your 12 to 15 minutes. If you make it less than 15 minutes, then you have the opportunity to have a question immediately after your talk. Otherwise, we will go to the end and then we'll ask. So the floor is yours, Dr. Siham from New Zealand. Start your presentation, please.
Okay, good morning, first of all, everybody. And thank you very much, Professor Alem, for your introduction. For my paper and for the colleagues that I worked with. It's actually a pleasure to work with those other four colleagues. Dr. Shahul Hameed actually worked with me here in New Zealand. He's in the Social Sciences Department in the TeWānanga Aotearoa, and this means the Maori University in New Zealand. And through him, I got introduced to the other esteemed three professors from universities in India, in Tamil Nadu area, which is in the south of India, which is Dr. Jamal, Dr. Sankaran, and Dr. Sultana. We all collaborated on this paper, which is talking about the effects and impact of coronavirus pandemic on tourism in India. And as you can see, this is the context of all my colleagues that we collaborated in this paper. I'm going to take you through a brief introduction and then the methods of data collection to this paper, tourism in India and the impact of COVID-19, then what is the measures, the short-term and long-term measures that has been taken by the Indian government, and then conclusion. So as we all know that the COVID-19, it has been a crisis that is affecting the sustainable development. It is affecting all countries and more specifically also the economic growth. And more specifically, the topic of this paper is tourism development. So if we're going to look at the OECD reports, it actually said that the COVID-19 crisis is actually a humanitarian crisis that is affecting people's life. So, and in this sector, people, the places, and all the businesses were affected with that crisis. So if we're going to look also at more specific interests, is that it affected the jobs, and it led, tourism usually leads to the creation of lots of jobs because there are interrelated businesses to tourism. And this COVID-19 affected diverse employment opportunities. In normal circumstances, usually tourism jobs helps low-skilled migrants and women and students in various areas in any country. And with the COVID-19, it actually affected the livelihood of lots of people in lots of sectors. This paper is actually a conceptual study. We've collected qualitative and quantitative data from different resources that have been published, periodicals, government reports, and websites. And in our analysis, we looked at the impact of coronavirus on the aggregate level of industry and also on the different segments of tourism industry, like hotels, like the markets, how it's affecting people's livelihood, the people who are depending and working in the tourism industry. In this map, it's just to show you how COVID-19 has been spread and affected the whole of India. If you look at the numbers and the figures in blue writing, these are the numbers of cases. And if you look at the red ones, this actually shows you the numbers of deaths. So as we can see from this map, it has affected every single area. some areas, the number of deaths are either 0 or really minimal, 1 or a few. If we're looking at Tamil Nadu, which is the right-hand side in the corner of the map, which is the area where my colleagues come from, they had 11,224 deaths, cases and 78 deaths. So if you have time to look at it and see the different areas and the different cases and deaths accordingly. Now, India is actually a country that has got a lot to offer in relation to tourism. Like any other countries, there's of course domestic and foreign tourism in the country. And if you look at the Taj Mahal picture down there, it doesn't give it actually its beautiful rights. We know about their culture, the civilization, the beauty of India and its ecosystems, and the different advantages of different localities there. So for India, tourism actually, it's not only a source of employment, but it's also a substantial source of foreign exchange to the country. There has been a report by the World Travel and Tourism Council in 2018 that mentioned that India ranked the 3rd among 185 countries in terms of travel and tourism contribution to the country's GDP. And they hold the 34th rank in terms of tourism competitiveness. So the tourism sector actually obtained at that time nearly 30 billion US dollars, which is reflecting a 4.8% growth when you compare it with the previous year. That shows how much tourism is contributing to the country and its importance. If we are going to look at that figure shows the total contribution of travel and tourism to GDP. And that was in 2017, and it's giving the projection and estimation to 2028. So here, tourism and hospitality sector's direct contribution to the GDP in 2017 was 91.27 billion US dollars. And this is expected to reach 194.69 billion by the year 2028. Again, that shows the importance of tourism to the country. If we're going to look at this second figure, it actually shows the number of arrivals of tourists in India. And so in 2017, the foreign tourist arrivals in India stood at 10.177 million and reached 3.88 million in January and April 2018. Which is actually 10.8% per year on year. So that shows there has been a growth. And the reason behind this growth is all the facilitations, the flexibility, and the offerings from the government policies, and also the development of transport in the country and how it makes easy for tourists to obtain visas to go to India. So the government of India is also targeting to have 20 million foreign tourist arrival by 2020. And I believe that this has been impacted also by COVID-19. That figure demonstrates or gives an overall summary of how COVID-19 impacted different sectors of the economy, and it's impacting whether the households, the government, the businesses, the finances, everywhere. And you can see how entangled it is. So if we are going to look at the Indian tourism, as many countries, their high season is usually in summer. And this is where people start booking to go and visit popular places, whether domestically or internationally. So there has been a lot of cancellations in programs in their popular areas like Delhi, Kerala, Goa, and many other places. The programs there have been cancelled due to COVID-19, which actually is the percentage about 40 to 50% of all these bookings during that summer. So as we can see that from these cancellations, they had a loss of 1.25 trillion at the start of this year as a result of COVID-19. So the government, of course, is taking measures in order to combat that, or order to alleviate the effect. There are short-term measures and there are long-term measures. So in the short-term measures, the Indian Chamber of Commerce, they directed the banks in order to clear the credits faster and to give more benefits for travel and hospitality segments. Also, the government announced 1.7 Indian rupees as special packages for the tourism industry, for people who are affected. But of course, the experts and the businesses are actually asking for 2.5 Indian rupees more. Also, the experts in tourism are suggesting to actually supervent the terms of the loans that is offered and their interest. Also, the Indian Chamber of Commerce had advertised between 6 and 9 months in order to a moratorium for all principals and interests and payments and tax payments and deferment of advances and overdrafts. If we're going to look at the long-term measures, both the government and the private agencies are collaborating and working together in order to publicize with the help of also the stakeholders about tourism. Also, the government is allocating separate funds in order to help tourism back into the country. Also, they are in discussions with the healthcare accreditation agencies in other countries in order to develop certain certificates and in order to follow the WHO requirements for health and safety to help tourists to visit India. And these people can carry with them these certificates, which could be a win-win situation. Also, the government authorities are ensuring a high level of health and safety while they are looking at those measures. So if we're going to look and wrap up and try to see where are the initiatives and give specific examples of those government initiatives for tourism in India, they have a program called Dekho Apna Desh, and this one was an online webinars so that people would participate. And it is actually in those webinars, they are explaining to Indian nationals, the people who are in India, about different destinations that people did not know about. If we're going to look also, there's another program which is called Stranded in India. This also a website that they have launched, and they are trying to help tourists. They're trying to support them. There is a helpline in order to inform them what to do, where to go. And they also gave directions for the hotels that not to refuse any people stranded, any foreigners, and to give them accommodation and facilitate things for them. Also, they have travel guidelines that is in Polish, and they are also having all these things in different languages, Chinese, Arabic, and Spanish, in order to give awareness and inform people and attract people also to what is the country offering. finally, there is also collaboration actions. They are doing workshops, and one of them that has been done on the 24th of April this year with the Ministry of Tourism in Saudi Arabia in order to sort things and work together on solutions. So this is the example of the Deka Apna Dash, as you can see. And the other one is the website of Stranded in India from the Ministry of Tourism. So, in conclusion, this study actually revealed that coronavirus has harshly impacted the global economy, as we already all know, also demonstrated the impact of coronavirus on tourism globally and also in the Indian economy more specifically. The Indian government is working on combating this impact via short-term and long-term strategies. I believe that there is a further collaboration with other countries that is required at this stage, especially during the recovery phase from the coronavirus pandemic. And thank you very, very much.
Oh, thank you very much, Siham. Wonderful to see you from the morning. Thank you very much. Now, Siham, because you have, we are very grateful, first of all, because you did it.
No more sharing, yeah.
Now, just a quick question. By the way, just to welcome all those who have just joined us. If you have any question, burning question, please go ahead. We will take questions. Now, Siham, your results, 2 or 3 of them, because I was just trying to more focusing on what's going on the Facebook. But yes, it's affecting the whole global economy, industry. One of the industries badly affected is tourism. There's no question about that. Yeah, and that's why here in the UK and all other European, they are trying their best to open up their gates. And I was talking to someone in Abu Dhabi yesterday, and he said they have started some measures, for example, in some hotels, you will only take you particularly because people, they go there for the pool and so on and so on. I mean, India is a huge country, and this pandemic will definitely be a serious one in India. Are there any lessons learned quickly before we go to Dr. Dima from Jordan? Globally, you can just offer at this stage, globally, this industry is being hardly hit all over the world. Yeah. Tourism is being hardly hit. I mean, each country will do its best to try to accommodate as much as possible. In the UK, they are trying to encourage internal holiday makers.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So is there any big lessons we can take and go move now globally? Every country like Turkey, Egypt, Tunisia, America, there's all of them depending on tourism.
I think all of us, we need to collaborate with each other, and globally, everybody has been trying to concentrate on having internal tourism to start with. And this is a key thing. Some of the countries do not yet know about it. How many people do you ask about certain areas in their country and you get shocked? They never set foot in it. So we have to start internally. That's extremely important. That's the first step. And just now, we have to have a coronavirus in order to alert us and wake us up and ensure that our people do that. The thing is that people should not get greedy and should not increase the prices and should make facilitate it or easier so that lots of people with different income levels would be able to go and visit different places. Can you believe me if I tell you that sometimes internally, to pay tickets internally and to travel internally is very expensive, going overseas would be cheaper.
Yes, it's happening here in the UK. We had this issue here in Europe as well.
We have it in New Zealand outrageously too. And I'm sure they have it in India. So, and it's a trend that the countries want to attract the people from overseas, and they don't cater for their own people. Please, let us start with our own people before we start going overseas. That is a key thing, that they increase the prices. They are always asking for people from, it's the quality of service. Quality of service is extremely important. Cater for your internal people as much as you are catering for the foreigners. Bring the indoor ones before you go for the outdoor ones. because that is the next step. That once we perfect it internally, then we can perfect it externally.
Thank you very much, Dr. Siham. Thank you very much.
So please remember, if we all help and do a little bit, it will make a big difference.